Let's just redo that. Nothing's going to stop me tonight. Nothing is going to stop me. Nothing. Nothing. How's it going, everybody? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Better late than never. I mean, you know. Yeah, it's frustrating, but what are you going to do? I already threw my fit last night. Got to get over this one, huh? We'll make it. We'll make it. Good to see everybody. Let me know where you're at, where you're coming from on the way in. Make sure to hit that like button. Thank you for waiting. I appreciate it. Very, very sorry. This time, it wasn't really any of our faults. And it kind of was. But it wasn't. It was kind of, it wasn't really our fault this time. Like, it was Peyton's fault. But that's okay. I don't care about any of that. I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy that you showed up, that I'm here. We're all here. Now we can just have a fantastic show, which is usually what happens when we have a show. And then when we don't have a show, it's not as fantastic. And once again, I want to apologize for last night. I threw, you know, it was just last night was a nightmare. And today was there were probably more issues today at the start. But, you know, sometimes you can't really help it. Sometimes your processor overloads and it shuts down. And then your power strips go out. Then the breakers go out. Then you're smelling for an electrical fire. And so on and so forth. I could go on and on and on, and I'm just not gonna, but I could. There is no electrical fire. Thank God. There is no, anything. It's, we're fine. We're fine. The breakers kicked off. It was just an overload of it felt like the stream gods knew that I was coming in hot and like this was going to be, a show. It could feel my pent up aggression and it slowed me down. And they're like, listen, Josh, just calm down. Just relax. You're fine. And then it killed my stream. The stream gods did that, but I will not be denied. Did somebody gift a member? I didn't even see that. How does that happen without me seeing it? StreamYard. I friggin' hate StreamYard. But you know what? At this point, I hate all streaming services. Oh, yeah, of course. Linda. Thank you. Your mic is not fine. I don't know what that means. It sounds like my mic is fine. Test. Yeah, my mic's fine. I think you're a little late there. Chat is on fire. I'm on fire. Everybody's on fire. People are mad. Hot show, electrical fire. Yeah. Hot show and electrical fire. Good evening, everybody. How are you today? Thank you for being here. We have a lot to talk about. Later on in the show, we're going to do call-ins. If you want to call in and talk about a certain case, it doesn't necessarily have to be the Quinton Simon case. If you want to talk Summer Wells, if you want to talk Cody Bigsby, whatever you want to talk, a case specific, we can do, and we will. Always good to hear from everybody. So when that is time, I'll put the number up and we can take some calls. Found me. She found me. Yeah, I'm really sorry about that. I really am. Pain in the butt. I'm a pain in the butt. Let's see here. Rumor has it Leilani is planning a trip to prison. I hope so. I truly hope so. So let's just get going here because I'm not really sure what to make of it. And this was said by so remember we're talking about people coming out of the woodworks and uh now it's like Michael, I think his name's Michael, who claims to be the brother of Leilani. And from everything that I've gathered, it seems like it seems like he is the brother and he's making his rounds. He's sticking up for his mother. Good for him. Look, I don't fault anybody for trying to stick up for their family. In this situation, that may, to me, that this is a little different. But we read his little soliloquy the other day. We talked about it. It wasn't that big of a deal. I didn't care about it. He was wrong in it, but that's okay. He's allowed to be. He's allowed to be. He was wrong in his statement, but he's allowed to be wrong. People are wrong sometimes. You're right. He probably was forced to. And so he's going on these shows, calling in, saying things like, my mother has nothing to do with this, so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. And she's a sweet and loving mother. And Cherry and Max, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. That's very generous of you. Thank you so much. Very much appreciated. So she's going around and she's saying this, stuff, and it's ridiculous. Or he's going around saying this stuff. He's sticking up for his mom. Good for him. He's a good boy. Good boy. Doesn't seem to like Leilani that much. Although what's interesting about it is that allegedly and supposedly, and I believe that this happened, but she was sitting next to him, sliding him pieces of paper, trying to make a statement for herself. She was trying to make a statement for herself. It was, she didn't want to talk directly, but she wanted to make a statement. What statement that was is, well, I have what she said right here. And this comes let's see. And this comes from, and peace, love, and pugs. Keep up the good work. You're doing great, Josh. Thank you very much. I appreciate you being a member for 8 months. Means a lot. Appreciate you. All right. So let's just talk about what she said. Let's just talk about what she said. So brother's on there giving his statements, and he comes off very, I didn't listen to everything he had to say because look, it's just the standard stuff. And he should say, it's his mother. I get it. But like, it's not like she's accused of trafficking. Maybe she is. I don't know. It's not like it's a cocaine offense or anything like that. I mean, there's a child missing, presumed to be dead and in a landfill. And, you're coming to the defense of your mother by saying, hey, her friends drug her out. Whatever kind of friends those aren't the kind of friends that you need. Nerdy Girl T420 says, is it just me or is anyone else feel they're trying to do damage control and put the blame on the boyfriend? Well, that's what's happening. So the winds are shifting in this case, and this is how it's going to go. And it's going to suck for Danny because Danny doesn't want to talk in public. I don't blame him. I wouldn't want to either. But they're coming for you. They're coming for you. She caught alive. All right. They're coming for you, Danny, and it's going to suck. It's going to suck because there are some questions that need to be answered. And some of those questions, we will address, but, they're coming for you, buddy. And I do, if you had nothing to do with this, and that's my every hope and prayer. But I've already seen the rumbling start. Once information starts to slow down about this case, that's how this stuff works. Once the information starts to slow down, then we move on to somebody else. Well, who else are we going to talk about? Well, I can think of somebody. I'm not going to do it. I don't really care. But they're going to come after him, air, land, and sea. They're going to pull up everything that he's ever done. They're going to just, it's going to suck. Sorry. I always forget to change my screen filter when I'm narrating. All right. That's better. So let's just hear what she said as she was sliding notes to her brother, who then relayed them for her. Interesting, isn't it? It's very interesting. It's very interesting because that's how YouTube breaks you down. That's how the media breaks you down. They don't stop until you say something, even through, an intermediary, even through whatever. But this is what, and I believe that this is exactly what she said. She didn't say it. She didn't say it like, blah, like that, but she passed it to her brother. So let's just hear what she has to say. It is interesting. And yes, that is. Well, let me see here. And Crystal, thank you very much for saying that. Yes, everything is on the table, of course, no question about it. Okay, so this is apparently what she passed to the brother. Just so everybody knows, the FBI is who told me that I don't remember this. Never came from me, but if they are somehow correct, I will turn myself in. I will take responsibility without a fight, without running, without hiding. Again, I don't believe it's true, but if it is, I will turn myself in. So if she did this, if somehow the FBI is correct. If somehow she doesn't remember, if somehow, this is what she says. I don't believe, first of all, I don't believe a word that she says. I don't believe a word that she says. But let me read that again for you. Just so everyone knows, and everyone being you, just so everyone knows, duh. Just so everyone knows, duh. The FBI is who told me. I don't remember this. Or I don't remember. This never came from me. But if they are somehow correct, I will turn myself in. I will take responsibility without a fight, without running, without hiding. Again, I don't believe it's true. But if it is, I will turn myself in. She goes on later to say via brother that the back door was open between 2:40 a.m. and 5:44 a.m. She says that 1:45 was the last time that she saw Quinton. 1:45 in the morning. Why the back door is open at 2:40 or 5:44, I don't know. I really don't know. Then she says that Danny texts the babysitter at 5:29 and doesn't really expand on that anymore. Doesn't really expand on that anymore. Via brother, that makes it all hearsay. Correct. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. It's hearsay. But it is the brother, and she was there, or he was there. So yeah, this is all, none of it is confirmed, but I'll tell you what, I believe it. I absolutely believe it. Nothing salacious on here. But yeah. And this sounds like the kind of answer that she would give. So then it says, Danny texts babysitter at 5:29, but Leilani didn't wake up till 9, not knowing why the kids were still there. So according to her, she doesn't know why the kids are there. She has no idea. She let's see. She got She thought the babysitter had taken them because she's done so in the past. And she called the babysitter, or she says that she called the babysitter at 9:15, but I think the babysitter called her. I think. It's hard to say. And that Danny tried to wake Leilani before work. This is what, according to the brother, but she wouldn't wake up. Who leaves children unattended? Who, I don't even know. All I know is that there is a defense in place now. You can bet that there's a defense now. They've had some time to think it out. What's Leilani going to say? Leilani's saying that she doesn't believe that he's in the landfill. So they're not getting that information from Leilani. Allegedly. Let's just pretend that it's true, because it doesn't seem that far out of the thought. It doesn't seem that far fetched, and the thought process, we can kind of follow along with what she's trying to say, because as stupid as it is, her saying, if somehow I did do this. I will take responsibility, even basically saying that she doesn't remember, that the FBI is the one that told her that she doesn't remember, um, which kind of goes along and dovetails into what the mother had said to, I don't know, other podcasters or whatever the hell you want to call them. And once again, it's just, it's getting, it's very, Christian Slater-ish, like this 90210 gossip train. And, we're going to have to sift through a lot of that weirdness and, but for some reason, I think that she doesn't think that Quinton's going to be found. And folks, I don't want to upset any of you, but I've spent the last couple of days looking at cases involving landfills, and it's not good. It's not a good prognosis. It's harder than you could imagine. Think about this. So this is how this works. You have this big landfill, okay? And you have cells. And the cells of the landfill are separated by 6 inches of compacted dirt. Immediately, when that trash gets there that day, it goes in the ground that day. It goes in the ground that day. And then it's compacted. And I know this stuff is disturbing, but let's just talk turkey about this. And when they have to dig that stuff, every case that I read about the other day, and it was a lot, all of them said that they feel that they were going to recover the body, that they were looking in the right place, so on and so forth. But what is happening here is they're taking piles of trash, spreading it out into a field. Okay. Then it goes from the field to a landing deck. If you've ever seen the first 48, the first 48, that shows fire. If you've ever seen Deadliest Catch, it's what they basically, put the crabs on to separate it. So they're putting, they have these tents and these landing decks, and they're meticulously going through piece by piece. Piece by piece. They're looking for clothing. They're looking for mail from the neighborhood that day. They're looking for anything that tell them that they're looking in the right spot. And they're not going to stop until they go, have exhausted this search. If you watched my video yesterday, Jessie Shockley, they looked for her for 96 days. 96 days. They had evidence that she was in the landfill, that she was placed in the dumpster. The mother was convicted of the murder. But 96 days. 96 days, and they never found her. They never found her. Now, here's the thing. When they sift through, and if they miss the child, if they miss any evidence at all, it goes right back into the ground, never to be seen again. You got one chance. You got one chance to get to recover him. And this is the hardest type of recovery that there is. It's the hardest. And I can tell you, and I know there's a lot of people in the chat saying, he's not even in there. He's not even in there. I bet you he is. You think Quantico is going to come out because just for fun? They've been locked in on trash from day one. It's just hard to find bodies of any size, any size whatsoever. It's very difficult. Canadian Cookie says there was evidence from the house, luminol. There was evidence. Yes, there is evidence. I don't know what that evidence is, but I know that it was substantial enough that they have taken the steps to start a recovery effort at the landfill. If you think that they're just doing that just because, and here's the thing, they may or may not find him, and he still very well could be in that landfill. It is the worst. It's the worst. And K-Midge says, waste of time. He's not there. It's a diversion. It didn't come from the family. It came from it came from law enforcement, FBI. They're the ones that decided to do this. Nobody else. So I do not believe that it's a diversion. I do not believe that they went off the word of Leilani, especially if you believe what she said yesterday through her brother. So we don't even know if she said it. Once again, more hearsay. But I'll tell you what's not hearsay. What's not hearsay is that there is a massive operation going on at the landfill, and it's the hardest type of recovery that you can imagine. The conditions are awful. The conditions are awful. They're inhumane. The amount of toxic gas, people, why are they taking the day? Dude, first of all, they can't just let some lunatic file through the garbage, because there is potentially and probably a child. We don't know what kind of evidence that they have. We don't know what kind of evidence that they have. But I'm sure that they have evidence. I'm sure that they have evidence. Thank you, Sherry and Max. It really did put things into perspective. Because I just don't think that we realize what's going on and what we're doing here. And the reason I say that is because I knew that these dump sites, these landfills, were really hard to find stuff. And that's an understatement. That's an understatement. Well, Tracy, thank you so much for joining. And once I started doing research on it, I found out this is even worse than I had ever imagined. Like, it's really, really, really bad.
Was reported.
And I don't know how many of you saw the video from yesterday, but I was going to play a little bit of it, and we'll discuss more in depth what's really going on in this situation. If it echoes, I'm not gonna say. I won't be happy.
The trash tossed into a dumpster goes through a long journey that normally ends in a landfill. A landfill is a place where waste and disposable materials are stored.
Does that sound okay? Let me see. Sugar Plum. Josh, do you think the baby was in that house when the babysitter came over to help? No, I think that the deed was done. So there is an echo or there's not an echo. I can never tell. Some people think there is, some people think there is.
Landfills, in the past also known as dumps, were unmonitored, easily bred contamination, and attracted disease-carrying pests. Today, landfills are regulated, and waste management employees go through several steps to safely store waste. Some of the byproducts of trash decomposition that normally would pollute the atmosphere, like methane, are now being captured and used to generate energy. The most recent report from the EPA in 2015 found that Americans created 262.4 million tons of trash a year. The massive amount of trash produced makes proper waste management crucial to ensure a safe, clean environment for all. Heavy machinery like bulldozers and compaction equipment are used to compress the trash and place it in the landfill. A 6-inch layer of dirt covers the cell after it's made and is then compacted once more. This layer helps contain odors and prevents unwanted pests. Some landfills are considering alternatives like tarps or cement emulsions to save space. And the liner system is the bottom layer of the landfill, and that consists of a liner that keeps trash and byproducts separate from the environment and groundwater. Some facilities use more than one type, but at any landfill, you will find at least one of the liners. There are, of course, different types of garbage trucks that hold different amounts of waste. The truck that comes through your neighborhood can hold anywhere from about 12 to 14 tons of waste by itself. In a 2009 article from Jacksonville.com, Adam Asen writes that experts say landfill forensic searches aren't easy. And for homicide investigators, it's one of the most difficult searches to make, sifting through mounds of garbage in hopes of finding leads. The experts go on to say searching a landfill for criminal evidence can be difficult because there's so much risk of contamination. The article goes on to say Ross Gardner, a national forensics expert based in Oklahoma, said it's usually easy to know where to start looking because most landfills are strictly organized into cells by location and date. Gardner goes on to say if it's not a well-organized search, then it's kind of a poke and hope, said Gardner, a former Army crime scene investigator and chief of police in Lake City, Georgia. But even at an organized site, landfill searches are a huge challenge. Almost as soon as debris is spread atop the dump, it's compacted by steel-wheeled rollers. By the end of the first day, it will usually be covered with soil to control odors. Even in a fresh situation, you're most likely going to have to do some excavation. Paul Laska, a forensic consultant in Palm City as a crime scene investigator, he spent a month in 1993 excavating a Martins County landfill looking for a little girl's body. And it can mean bringing in cadaver dogs trained to sniff for human remains to help narrow the search. Once crews find debris from the right day and hauler, The search can become more like an archaeological excavation, material being sifted through delicately despite the damage already done by daily landfill operations. And it can be difficult to recognize meaningful evidence in a small mountain of twisted refuse and decay. And if and when a body is discovered, it can be difficult to preserve DNA evidence. Even if investigators move slowly and carefully, most of the evidence can be contaminated before search crews even arrive. Though evidence of sexual abuse inside the body may be preserved, Gardner said anything on the exterior of the body might not hold up as evidence because so much trash gets mixed together. Debris surrounding the body could be connected to the case, such as gloves or a piece of clothing, but that can be very hard to prove.
Ron Allen and Devin Seabury are the last two suspects accused in the murder of 22-year-old Evan Young. They made their initial appearance in court Thursday afternoon, bringing the number of suspects charged in the death of the Milwaukee rapper to 5. Police are now turning their attention to finding the body. They have taken possession of a dumpster on Milwaukee's north side, where one of the suspects told police they dumped the body and set it and the dumpster on fire. But police say no one in the area around 6100 North 84th Street sounded the alarm.
There was evidence of some fire within that dumpster, sir, yes.
So it likely didn't burn very long.
That's unknown to me here. All I can tell you is that Milwaukee Fire Department was not summoned to the scene.
Early next week, police will start searching a local landfill. While it has been 3 weeks since the murder and the landfill is huge, investigators are confident specially trained dogs and some unique equipment will give them a good chance.
That's quite an effort that we are going to be undertaking with the private sector. The Milwaukee Police Department will be utilizing some very large equipment with personnel to try to remove garbage. We also are going to be deploying cadaver dogs in an effort to identify the exact location where that victim may be.
Tonight, authorities are searching a Greenville County landfill after reports that a woman dumped the body of a 6-month-old baby in a dumpster. According to investigators now, the baby was reportedly put in a dumpster in the small town of Johnston. That is in Edgefield County and about 20 minutes from Batesburg-Leesville. That dumpster has since been taken to the Greenville landfill.
This is not something that's going to be done in 20 or 30 minutes. This is going to take time because this is a recovery operation. And we have to be respectful of the fact that we are looking for a body.
Law enforcement telling us tonight they first received the tip over the Thanksgiving holiday weekend. We hope to have an update tonight.
Obviously, and we will look as diligently as we can and also as respectfully as we can because we are looking for the body of a child.
Now, we do know one person is behind bars tonight in Edgefield County, but they are not facing charges from SLED at this point. Investigators also tell us they are looking for evidence that may lead to charges down the road.
Glendale police and the FBI now leading a massive landfill search to find the remains of 5-year-old Jesse Shockley. She's the Glendale girl who's been missing now for 4 months, and a search team is expected to arrive in about an hour there at the landfill. ABC 15's Kimberly Chang already on the scene at the Butterfield station in Mobile. Kimberly, good morning. I understand they're targeting a specific section, and they do believe that Jesse's body is somewhere in there.
Really one of the biggest questions in this investigation. Everybody wants to know, how did Jerice Hunter get her kids back after she had served prison time for abuse?
That's right. Some of the answers are in this police report released by Phoenix Police today. It says that while Jerice Hunter spent 4 years in prison for abusing her children, Jessie stayed with a couple of different family members. But when her mother was released, Jessie was sent back home. The report shows that Shirley Johnson, the grandmother of Jessie, didn't want to care for the kids anymore, saying that it was too much work. An aunt also cared for Jessie, but because no official custody arrangement was made, Jessie was sent back to her mother. The report also shows that Jerice Hunter married a convicted child molester who reportedly molested one of her children. The report did not say which one. He is now in prison. So several family members knew about the abuse but gave the children back. Phoenix Police forwarded the information to Glendale Police. Glendale Police gave it to CPS. The CPS director talked to us about his workers late last week.
99% of the time, they get it right. Is that we have the unfortunate circumstances where sometimes it doesn't happen as we would want, and there are tragic consequences.
To be clear, a lot of the information in this report comes from a concerned family member, who did file a police report. Jessie has been missing for nearly 2 months now. Police no longer believe she is alive. Reporting live in Quinton.
Yes, Connie, think about it. Police must be pretty confident that her body is here if they've coordinated a search of this magnitude. Now, just to give you some perspective, the trash is about 20 feet deep. That's the distance between you and me right now. That's how far searchers will have to dig. Now, Butterfield Landfill is the largest in Arizona. We're talking 6,000 tons of trash here. The specific area is 180 feet by 200 feet. And police believe Jessie's body was put in a trash bin in Tempe, which was later dumped here. More than 40 people will search 8 hours a day. We're told searchers have had to go through training and medical tests. Many are sworn officers. Now, police are calling this an active homicide investigation. You may remember Jessie's mother, Jerice Hunter, has been a primary focus. And despite this search, Hunter's attorney tells me Hunter believes Jessie's body is not here. She thinks Jessie is still alive, and he also questions.
And so, it does lend itself to a little perspective. I mean, you just don't know if they're going to find him. You're very hopeful. You're hopeful, but you don't know. You don't know. And so if he's not found, the people that are saying, well, he was never there in the first place, he very well just could get missed. And I truly hope that doesn't happen. But this is why they take their time. You can't rush it. If they believe that he's deceased, then fine. Then it becomes a recovery case, but that's it. That's it. It is a recovery case. And that's what they feel that they're dealing with right now. That's why people dispose of others in trash. One of the things that I found out during this whole process was a normal average garbage truck, just a normal average, carries like 12 to 14, like 24,000 pounds of trash, and it's compacted. It's compacted, and as terrible as that sounds, and it certainly is, it certainly is terrible. Did I miss a? God, did I really miss a super chat or something? Super stand. God, total chaos mode. I'm sorry about that. Who did that? Who did that? Call-in number is 858-299-2504. You can have your opinion on this. Let's just keep it respectful. Granny started cussing the last time she called in. Granny, please don't cuss if you call in this time, but I appreciate your call nonetheless. If there's, something that's on your mind about this case that you want to talk about, please feel free. I'll listen. Yeah. So that's 12 tons per truck. Correct. Yeah, it's the truck itself compacts it. The truck itself is the one that does this. But, back to Leilani saying, that like the FBI is the one that told her this and that and whatever. I don't. First of all, the FBI couldn't know if she remembered doing it or not. Maybe they just said that to her, like, because she's denying it. Oh no, I didn't do that. Well, maybe you don't remember. I don't know. And then I want to say, oh yeah, that's possible. Yeah, that's possible. I don't know. It's weird, right? It's weird. $12 tons. 12 tons. Just your average garbage truck. That's a ton. It's an absolute ton. Never Lose Hope says, I always say that we as Americans generate a lot of trash. And it's just bigger and Juna says they're lying, in my opinion. What is it that who's lying? The FBI or the family? Right. Yeah, probably. I mean, I would think so. They're trying to form an alliance. They're trying to do something. They're just trying to get her to crack somehow, to say something some way. They ask her if it's possible she put him in the dump and doesn't remember, to get her to say yes, maybe, and lead her to say more and see her reactions. Judith, I agree. The family, yes, of course they're lying. At least Leilani is lying, because does anybody remember back to the beginning when she told the police that Quinton went with his father, his bio father? That's what she said. And the cop said, no, sorry. That's a lie. You're lying. Which I think she could have been trumped up on those charges, but lying to the police during an investigation is a crime. But she said at the beginning, and now this whole narrative is starting to spin. This whole narrative is starting to spin. Tia Dash, Decipher Podcast. Your mods are always on point, and the information you provide is solid. Keep up the great work on the difficult cases. We appreciate you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's see. Jamie Johnson, a $2 super sticker. Thank you for that. Very, very appreciated. Caller, you're on the air.
Hey, is this Josh?
This is Josh. How are you?
Hey, Josh. Hey, I can barely hear you. Okay. Well, I have, it's going to be all over the place because I have a few things. First off, I wanted to see, go back and ask about the door, what the brother said about the door.
Uh-huh.
What about the door, the back door being open
So
for so many hours?
So what the brother's saying through Leilani is that the back door was open between 2:40 a.m. and 5:44. Now, if you think about that, that's where Danny supposedly texts the babysitter at 5:29. And some people believe that she did it from his phone, but we don't know that. But she's saying that somehow she knows that the back door was open and unlocked at 2:40 to 5:44, but she didn't even wake up till supposedly 9:15 that day.
Right. So if she knew the door was open, I mean, if I knew that the back door was open and unlocked, I would close the door and lock it. Especially knowing that I've got children in the house.
Right.
But I don't think she cares much for children anyway.
Definitely not.
Parents. But my other issue is when they honed down on this thing with, Quinton being in the landfill and being put in the dumpster, I'm thinking, first I called BS on this thing with Leilani saying that the FBI gave her this narrative saying, oh, she forgot that she did something like this. And the FBI is not going to feed her this narrative.
Right.
And give her an alibi that something like this could have happened that she forgot.
Okay, so
what would she have?
Well, people in the comments are saying that there was a camera on the back door, and so maybe that's where she got the information from. But look, the whole thing was probably a setup on her part.
Right. So was she seen putting something in her trash, or was this something that she put in a dumpster somewhere? Why would she have to go off the property to put something in a dumpster that she couldn't put in her trash?
So I don't know if she's on camera. I'm assuming that that they have evidence from the dumpster, and all I know is that the FBI shows up, blacks the windows out, and the next day they announce that they're looking in the landfill.
Right.
And they called in the big boys.
Right. So
I don't know why they would do that. other than them having direct evidence. And when you listen to the police chief, he says he says it with authority that they have remember that we have evidence that lets us know that we believe he's deceased. They're not. Can you imagine if he wasn't deceased? Like, could you imagine the backlash that department would be? So I think that they have substantial evidence, and yes, they can prosecute her without a body.
But yeah, I can't even wrap my mind around that. So that would take me a while to process.
Do you think that he's not in the landfill?
For some reason, I'm just hooked on to that. I think that he is because when he had that press conference, he was so matter of fact about it.
Right.
And I think if he wasn't that sure about it, because he seems so sure just that they had evidence and this is where he is, and they had marked off this area that this is where he is and this is where we're going to look.
Right.
And I think if they didn't have any proof of that, I really believe that I think he would have been up and up about that. I really do.
Well, that, and they've also diverted $250,000 to continue this search. The Jesse Shockley girl, the 96 days that went on and they never found her, but did have direct evidence that she was in there. That cost $1.5 million.
And they never found her, but at the same time, that little girl had been missing for months, and chances are, I mean, what year was this?
Probably I think it was like 2010.
Okay, so things may have progressed since then, and things may be, the process that they run the landfill may be different than what it was then, and then considering the different area, this is a completely different state, and they may have different standards. There may be different policies now.
Well, they've been gritting landfills for some time now. It used to be back in like the 60s and 70s. They weren't really landfills. They were just dumps. And now that trash has become such a problem, that's when they started designing these. And these things, by the way, these landfills are like modern miracles, the way that they have designed them. It's just it's a marvel, the way that they turn them into mountains. They start to stack the trash up on the side of the hill and then cap it with plastic. I mean, it is a very meticulous process, and all of them, I'm sure there are ones that break the rules, but I mean, they are absolutely regulated, and that they do have to keep records, and all their equipment, the equipment that they all have GPS on their equipments. Now, 2010, I don't know, but it's been that way for a while.
Right.
So
right.
finding where to search is the easy part. Finding what you're looking for is the hard part.
Right. Well, I'm just thinking that whatever he was in. I mean, I'm thinking, unfortunately, but I'm thinking that whoever, which I still think that it's her, Leilani, whatever she put him in, I'm thinking it would have been, a trash bag or something like that, that maybe he would have some kind of, there would be some preservation or protection from, any things that, any food or any other,
Right.
anything that,
Right.
maybe there would be something there that would possibly make it easier.
Well, I personally believe they have evidence, and I personally think that they will find him, but I won't be surprised if they don't.
Right.
Not at all.
Right.
And like I said, if they miss
does-
him and he, everything gets put back. And if they miss him, it's done. It's done. And they'll never find him.
Right.
So,
Right.
These people that are screaming, hurry up, you can't hurry up. This is not a hurry up process.
Right. Right. I did see drone footage of, and other people may have seen it, but I just saw it today. Near the landfill, it's just a big swamp around there.
Right. Yep.
It's just all this marsh and everything. So it almost makes you wonder if, it's, I don't know. It's near the landfill. I don't know.
It's a nasty, nasty place. The landfill is that's exactly what it is. They throw garbage in the ground.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're looking for a kid in there is awful.
Yeah, and not just a kid. I mean, he's a baby.
He's a baby, 20 months old. I think about that too. He's not even 2 years old.
Yeah.
He's 4 months shy of 2 years old. He's a tiny little baby.
Yeah. And, and then I just, want to go back to the pool. I'm sure there are other people wanting to talk to you that, but with the pool, I don't really understand the draining of the pool, but from what I understand with the drone footage, it looks like the pool had a tarp on it, but not a cover. So, not a bona fide pool cover. So it was, it was green. So the only thing I can think is that maybe they drained the pool to look for him there, but at the same time, I'm sorry, it just, they could have maybe found him a different way.
Yeah, well, I totally understand, and I know what you're saying. It's hard to fathom what's going on, and we do second guess, but what is happening. But I really truly think that they're doing all they can, and I do think that he's going to be found. I do, and I think that Leilani is going to be charged with probably something like murder via child abuse, because they don't necessarily have to, that's kind of a broad charge. And, if they can prove this with or without a body, I think that that's something that she's going to be charged with. But did you want to give your screen name out there? Oh, no, go ahead. You have another question? Or statement?
Yes, I do. Well, kind of, it's both. Because I had a hard time hearing some of what Billy Joe said to the babysitter when she went to her house.
Yeah.
That she was saying, you know, I asked you for help. And she kept telling the babysitter, I asked you for help. So I don't really understand what more, you know, what more she could have asked of the babysitter. The babysitter was doing, you know, everything that it seemed like she could possibly do outside of maybe taking kids. Maybe I wonder if she didn't want the babysitter to maybe take temporary custody of the kids.
Right.
Because, you know, she was out of town and she was trying to evict Leilani and her boyfriend.
Right.
So I wonder if she wasn't afraid of maybe losing the kids as well. And knowing that she could depend on the babysitter if she wasn't maybe trying to work out something there. But instead, you know, I think the babysitter loves those kids.
Yeah.
But I was kind of ticked off because she did. She came right out and she threw Billy Joe under the bus just as soon as she could.
Well, was that after Billy Joe stormed in her house?
It was before.
Uh,
Because she got on Facebook and she was, you know, well, I'll tell you one thing. And, you know, it was sort of, you know, the kids would come over and they had, you know, Quinton had bruises and he was playing outside by himself and he was out in the ditch playing and this and that. And I thought, well, you know, if it was that bad, then why didn't you just call DHS? You know, if you're
right.
the babysitter and you have them every day, why didn't you just call DHS? But I found out later that she said that she did. And so if Billy Joe was willing to go out of town for a few days and leave these boys with Leilani overnight,
see,
do you think that she'll face some kind of charge?
well, I think I'm under the impression that when that happened, that Billy Joe had stormed in her house before that. I mean, can somebody clarify that for me in the chat? If I'm seeing people say that she threw her under the bus after she stormed in her house and accused her of having something to do with either the disappearance or having a vigil for him. So it looks like it did happen after, and I have no problem with her throwing her under the bus. I mean, look what she did, you know, went out to eat and taking shots and asking the bartender to take a shot with her, blah, blah, blah. You know, she wanted to do what's that?
Because here she was when she came back and she apparently found out what happened. And she had even said she didn't trust Leilani.
Right. Yeah. I know.
With the boys. And so now and you know, when she was trying to evict her and all this stuff. And now she's out partying with her. And I don't know who these other people were that was with them, but I'm thinking, who would want to be in public with them?
Right.
I can't even fathom who would want to be seen in public with these two.
Right.
But, you know, whatever. I would want to know their names because I would think they're really interesting and sick. And it just makes you wonder.
No doubt about it.
What kind of, you know, But
Anyway, I appreciate I got people on the line, but I appreciate your call, and hopefully you call in again.
well, and I won't keep you that long again. But
That's okay.
anyway, thank you so much
No
for
problem.
that video. I learned a lot, and I always learn a lot from you. I appreciate
Thank you.
everything you do. I really do.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You just keep up the great work, okay?
Thank you very much. You have a nice night.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you for holding.
No problem.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm doing great. So how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good. Well, I've been thinking about, and somebody may have done this already, but the timeline for Danny. If he called the sitter at 5:29 and said she wasn't needed, what time did he leave to go to work or wherever he went?
Right. Well,
and then go ahead.
No, I'll chime in after. Go ahead.
Okay. And then the babysitter say when Leilani called her and said, asked if she had Quinton, and she went over there, I kind of was under the assumption that Danny and her both were there around 9 when she went over there. Or am I wrong?
Well, it sounds like he was, at first that's what it sounded like, but it sounds like he was at work. And he claims, well, once again, and this is all hearsay because we haven't heard from Danny. Danny's not talking.
Right.
But according to the information that we have, that Danny saw the child around 6:30 before he left. And I don't know if that's true or if that's just what we're being fed by the family or the police, but that sounds like kind of like the timeline there. So I don't believe that he was there at that time.
Okay. And do you know how old the older brother is? Is he old enough that he would know what happened?
He's 3.
Be able to verbalize? Nah. Yeah, he probably wouldn't be very able to verbalize if he saw anything.
Yeah, I unfortunately think whatever happened while the other children were asleep.
Sleep, yeah.
And even if that's the case, or that where they weren't asleep, they would definitely try to talk to a child that age. It's probably not going to be very reliable in court. And it's very, very traumatic for a little child as well. Usually around 5 is when they start asking questions.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't realize how old the older boy was. So
well, somebody said the babysitter said he was at the house at 9 a.m. So
okay. Okay.
I believe the babysitter.
Yeah. Oh, I do too. And this is my last thought because I don't want to keep you too long. Is I think Billy Joe went over there and was so angry because the babysitter had mentioned how many times she had texted Billy and, told her about seeing bruises and this and that and the other thing. And when this all happened, I think Billy Joe is worried that somehow it's going to come back on her for leaving the kid with Leilani.
Yeah.
I think that's her main problem.
It very well could.
With the babysitter.
You know, and if she wasn't
Yeah,
acting like a complete trash bag at the bar with her
Yeah.
daughter, I might have a little more sympathy for her. But you know, and then the way that she dealt with the babysitter, I don't even care if the babysitter came out and threw her under the bus, because if Leilani was hitting
Oh,
those
I don't
children,
either.
if she was hitting those children and she knew that, she's guilty of not protecting that child. And she's had custody of those kids for quite some time. Leilani lost custody of those kids very early.
I believe it. I believe it. And now this new one, I don't know what's going to happen with the baby, but
I don't know.
You know, hopefully it'll be put in a good home, because I don't believe that Billy Joe should ever get any of them back.
Right.
I really don't.
Right.
You know, because, and I don't understand how, you know, she can be screaming and yelling and fighting with her daughter that we've heard, and, you know, from the backyard, and it was loud from the backyard, and then a week later she's out partying with it. I just don't understand that.
Right. And then she wanted her out of the house too.
Yeah.
She wanted her out of the
Then
house.
turns around and goes out partying with her.
Which makes no sense.
No. I don't understand. And then Grandpa, Leilani's stepdad, we haven't heard a thing out of him except that first date. Or I haven't. Or seen him make any kind of statement. Or, you know, it's just like he's, you know, put himself in the closet or something and hid. Like he doesn't want to be involved with it at all.
I don't even know is that her husband?
Yes.
Or her
Billy Joe's
boyfriend?
husband, Leilani. Well, maybe. But I was thinking husband, because I was thinking I heard on one podcast or a newscast that was Leilani's stepfather. But
Okay.
she'd be calling that even if they weren't married.
Well, Leilani was going by Danny's last name, even though I don't believe that I don't think she wasn't married to him. Youngkin, I believe, was what she was going by. So who knows? Like, look, if I was that guy, I'd be out too. You know, if I was just an outsider looking in, going, I got to get out of here. This is nuts.
Yeah, too much.
Yeah, and
too much drama and hurtful things.
Lisa Lee says, from what they say, her daughter gave her guardianship willingly, but that's a load of more crap. I don't know if she did or she didn't. Probably not. But
no, probably not.
People keep forgetting that November 1st, Leilani was ordered to start paying child support too.
Yep.
It was coming down. She was going to have to pay child support. I'm not saying that that's a motive, but you know, stranger things have happened.
It can be. Yeah. When it comes to money.
But the other thing about this, so what people are saying is the reason that she stormed over there is because the babysitter wanted to have a vigil, and she was saying that, you know, he wasn't dead. So you might have been right. I think you were right that she did kind of go off on her and Leilani, because she talked about how she thought Danny was a nice kid. I think that was all previous, correct?
Yeah.
And so, you know,
it was a combination of things, but I think that had something to do with it too.
Right.
And it made her look bad.
Yeah.
You know, that she had been told there was bruises on the kids, and, you know, she still left him with Leilani. So,
yeah. And you know, the worst part about it is, like, first of all, you can't hit children. You just can't do it. It's despicable. Is it a life crime? No, it's not. But you should go to jail for a long time for it. And honestly, if you're found abusing your children, you shouldn't get them back.
No,
And
No.
they people do.
And there's thousands and thousands of children that are removed and put in foster care, and the state tries to work with the parents in order for them to get the child back, which in some cases I think that may be a good thing. But 99.9% of the time, they go back into the same situation they were taken from.
Right.
And I could not be a foster parent for that reason. Once I had them in my care and knew what they'd gone through, I wouldn't be able to give them back. There's no way.
Right. And
well,
you have no choice at all. But I appreciate your call. Thank you so much for calling. And do you want to give your chat name out?
Sure, it's Nita Rowe.
Nita Rowe. I knew that. I see it right here, but I wasn't going to do it without your permission. Thank you, Nita. I see you all the time.
Rat me out,
I see you in the chat all the time. Thank you very much.
Yep. You have a great evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Nita Rowe. Absolute champ right there, Nita. 858-299-2504. Hit the number if you want to talk about it. Let's see. I don't know. So, now we're talking about the timeline, and none of these timelines are good. Live update. Yes, November the 1st. Thank you. That's also when the eviction set to go in effect. So this was all done before grandma went to Chicago. Live update. What's going on? Live update. That is correct information. Let me see. Wow. I know. Roxanne says Nita Rowe has to be a distant relative. That's my maiden name. Your maiden name. Exactly. He's in there. I believe that, Wendy. I truly do. I truly do. Yeah, grandma, when she stormed over there, she told the babysitter she was screaming outside. She said, "You took the baby. The baby isn't dead. You took the baby." Yeah. I think people hold vigils for people that go missing, kids, all the time. I mean, that's not anything new, is it? It's not anything new. You think he's in Landfill? I do. Yes, I do. Personally, I do. Yeah, Prairie Ridge. What's the problem with that? Why is everybody saying no? I can't. I keep go so fast, and then that it's not weird to have a vigil. Is that why people are saying no? No, it's not weird. Yeah, she thought a vigil was the same as a memorial. It's unreal. Unreal. It kind of sounds like that. It's a prayer vigil. It's what it's been happening forever. Lisa Lee says now they're saying a live-in nanny was scheduled to start the day after all this happened. Yeah, I don't believe that either. I don't believe that either. Oh, we got a call coming in from Kingsport. Think this is going to be about the Summer Wells case? Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Hello. How are you, Josh?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. I just thought I would call in this evening because I had just something on my mind in regards to the Quinton case. Well, about Summer too, but the one thing that bugs me about Quinton's case, I think, is I'm sorry, my dog's got a toy over here squeaking it.
We're dog friendly over
about
here.
100 times in a minute. Is like by Quinton, she had 3 babies, and like I know she was supposed to pay child support and all this starting, but like why? It's like why 1 baby out of 3, and that's always like stuck in my mind, like just why this 1 little baby, you know? It just has bothered me I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like you said, if he's just a little guy, and I don't know.
Well, I fully understand what you're saying, and I'm willing to take a gander at this question, because I've thought that too. Why Quinton? And I can only think of a couple reasons, none of them good. But I think, look, there could have been an incident where she lost her temper with him. We don't know if she intentionally killed him or if it was an accident and then she covered it up. We don't know exactly, like I said, we don't know the cause of death. We don't know anything like that. But this also could have something to do with possibly they all had different fathers. Was there some animosity between those two? I don't know. Was Quinton the hyper one of the bunch? Did he annoy her in a certain way?
Wouldn't go to sleep.
Sure, all those things are super, completely possible. Is he crying?
That's something I thought about.
Yeah.
I wondered that maybe.
None of them good reasons, by the way. None of them good reasons.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
But maybe she's like,
you've had kids. Yeah, that age. They're kind of like, I don't want to go to bed.
Right.
Like, I want to stay up.
Right.
I don't know.
And if she has a temper, she very well may have lost it on Quinton, or maybe she, I don't know, but there are reasons why it could have been Quinton in her mind, or it could have been an accident, cover up, or lost her temper on him and it was just a split. All of it's terrible, because especially after the fact, you can't hit kids, you can't abuse kids, you just can't. I mean, that nobody's disputing that.
No, you cannot.
But there is a big leap between abusing a child, like physical abuse, which, by the way, I said earlier, not a life crime. But you should definitely do some substantial time and never get your kids back. I do not believe that you should ever get your kids back if they've been taken away from you for physical abuse, ever.
No.
What? I mean, how do you fix that?
No. And, I've seen so many cases where CPS just keeps giving kids back and giving kids back until their parents kill them.
Right.
I mean, how many times I've seen that over and over again. and that makes me sick to my stomach.
Right.
But it happens over and over. They just keep wanting to reunite the family until they keep giving it back until they end up killing them. And you're just like,
well,
how
did you
many
see the
times does
video
this have to
earlier?
happen? Now, I was late getting on tonight here. My daughter actually called, and I ended up on the phone with her for an hour and a half.
So, I released a video yesterday called "Needle in a Haystack," and it's all about, you know, the sanitation landfill process, and then I talk about 3 different cases. I show 3 different cases, and a mother who had been in prison for 4 years for child abuse got all of her kids back, and then she was convicted for killing her 5-year-old after that. CPS gave all those children back. And I'm going, in what world is it okay to give a child back to somebody that has abused that child? You're not fixing that. I'm sorry, you're not going to fix it. If you have it in you to hit a child, you have major problems. And
it's going to always be in you.
It's in you. You're an angry person.
Yeah.
And
it's
it's
just
sick.
like it's like a pedophile. You will never
Exactly.
get that out of you. That's always always in you.
And if you think about
I'm
that,
sorry, that can't be fixed.
well, that's another thing. If you think about it that way, which I 100% agree, they're not trying to fix them. They're putting them on a registry to tell everybody to stay away from them.
Right. Exactly.
They're not trying to fix them. There's no rehabilitation there. And did you have something about Summer's case?
I just, somebody else had mentioned the other day, is like when this came out with Leilani about the whole dumpster thing, it's like, that could have happened this summer.
Sure.
And, I never really thought about that, but, it could have. I don't really think it did, but, thinking back on it now, it could have.
No,
but,
no question about
I really don't think, like I said, I don't think it did, but it very well could have. It could have happened. But
and the problem with that,
we don't know what happened.
Is if they went somewhere far away and did it, they wouldn't even know where to start looking.
They'll. Oh no, they would never know where to start.
Right.
I mean, even if they went, into Kingsport anywhere, they would never know where to go, because Sullivan County. They're only a mile from the Sullivan County line. And Sullivan County is the 5th largest county in Tennessee. So it's a large county.
Right.
It's a good sized county. So,
right.
No, they would never be able to find her.
Well,
I don't think that's what happened, but it's something to ponder, to think like,
I will have some more
just after Quinton's case.
Some more stuff about the Summerwell's case here coming up this week, and
good.
Hopefully,
and I'll go back and watch your video you did on the needle in the haystack.
Yeah.
I missed that yesterday.
It's interesting, I think.
Yeah, I'll go back and catch that.
And I appreciate your phone call.
Much time. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's always good to talk to you.
Yeah, I saw that you've called in before. I remember you.
Yeah. Talked to you a time or two.
Cool.
So you have a good night.
Okay, take care. Thank you for calling.
Oh, you're welcome.
Bye-bye.
All right. Night.
Night. All right, caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
Hello, Josh.
Hello.
I had one question. Do you think that there's any thing they could arrest her on, like something like violation of probation or something, until they can file these charges, so she's not out partying and on the streets?
Well, so since she hasn't been charged with a crime yet, I don't know if she has violated probation yet, but I don't see why. Well, I guess I see why. She lied to the police. She lied to them about the father picking up Quinton. And so,
So
yes.
there's something right there they could charge her with and hold her until they can file these other charges so that she's not out on the streets. This reminds me so much of Casey Anthony.
I look, so lying to police on an ongoing investigation, I don't know. I believe lying to police is a felony, and that she could be violated for that, I'm sure. Some people are saying, I don't know what was part of her probation, if she was allowed to drink or not. I don't know. I don't know the details of her probation.
I don't either. I know it was out of another state.
It was out of South Carolina.
It seems like but it seems like with an investigation going on, period, that would be enough for violating probation.
Well, so there you go. Yeah, they very well could have her on some charges and upgrade the charges. The way, are you familiar with the Cody Bigsby case?
A little bit, yeah.
So that the dad is in all kinds of trouble just for, neglect. The child, Cody, has been missing, and they've had him sewed up for quite some time in jail.
Right.
Now, I think that they're just like, hey, if we don't, this is what I think. I think that if they don't find Quinton, relatively soon, a week or so, that they will be looking at what they can do, what kind of charges they can bring, if any at all, while they continue to search. I agree. I think that she should be in jail on anything that they could conjure up. Obviously, you're not going to charge her with murder right now because you have to be able to prove it. You have to be able to prove it. So they're not ready for that charge. They're not ready for that charge, but that's not what they're investigating either. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
They're investigating they're investigating the disappearance and death of Quinton. They're not keeping track of her probation. Like they seem to have their sights on finding this boy first and foremost. And
but couldn't they get her for neglect though, if anything, and hold her on that?
I mean, do we have?
Because there's so many that's already said that she did not take care of those children. Or would they consider that hearsay?
You would have to have direct evidence, and they don't have. Obviously, they don't have Quinton, but you'd have to have direct evidence to support that. Look, all that stuff is going to take time. So you put her in jail. What are you going to, and this is me thinking out loud. What are you going to put your time and effort into? Are you going to put your time and effort into a violation of probation charge, child abuse charge, or are you going to try and find the missing child and then worry about the charges? I understand. Look, if they can't and they don't find him, then they will bring adequate charges. Like I said, they can still charge her with murder or whatever without a body. It happens all the time. Just because you're good at disposing of a body, or you hid a body somewhere that they can't find, and they have proof that person's dead, that's not a good enough reason to get off.
So you believe that what they are trying to do is build as much as they can before they.
Yeah, they want to find Quinton first, and then whatever else they can stack on top of her, that's what they'll do. I mean, this will be, if she's charged, it'll either be with murder, manslaughter, child abuse, murder via child neglect. These are life crimes, and I think they just want to bring the hammer down on her. And sometimes that does take a little bit of time. You know, and the Jesse Shockley case, the mother, they had been looking for this kid, that little girl, 5 years old, for a long time. And it was 11 months after they didn't find her body, 11 months. Then they charged her with murder.
And
and she was found guilty.
I just hate to see. I don't know. I just hate to see her just out living it up like nothing.
Well,
you know, her and her mother. But there's nothing we can do. But I do pray that they do find Quinton's body.
I do too, and I appreciate your call.
And thank you for taking my call.
No problem. Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Moving right along here. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air. Hello.
Yeah. Is it me?
What's that?
Hi, Josh. This is Suzanne from Emmett.
Hi. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
I really appreciated your little documentary.
Thank you.
That was really an eye opener.
Right.
The one thing I'm thinking about this case, since it started, I just couldn't get it out of my mind. It's like they're having to do like a excavation, and I know you brought that out in the documentary.
Yep.
And all I could visually see in my mind was people like in Egypt that are like doing excavations on the temples and the graves and stuff. They're down there with little brushes so that they don't hurt anything. And, you know, it's just a tedious, it'll be a miracle. I know I believe in miracles, but it will be a miracle.
Do you think they'll find him? First of all, do you think he's in there, and do you think they'll find him?
I think he's in there, or the police would not be going to that much effort. They've got the FBI have some solid clues that he's in there. But, you know, they might have got the wrong dumpster where he was dumped at.
There's a lot of problems. Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
We don't know. So it's just, I think a lot of prayer and hoping is what's going to make that transpire. And two more little things. I'll try and be fast. The girl that you talked about on your documentary that lost her kids and then got the kids back. It was because the grandmother didn't want him anymore.
Right. She said it was too much work.
She gave him back without going through the system, just like Billy Sue, whatever her name is, did with what is her name?
Leilani?
Leilani.
Yeah, Billy Joe. Yeah.
She was watch those kids without even going back through the system.
Right.
No therapy, no nothing. And, you know, that's, I have one daughter that has some problems, and she's had 3 children, and 2 are not in the system, but with relatives, and 1 is in the system. And I wouldn't think about letting her have those kids back.
No.
She's mentally stable to do that. And that's how much I love her. I do that. I feel that way out of love for her and my grandkids. You just don't do that. If you're too tired, you get help.
Yeah.
You know, she was getting help from the babysitter, but she didn't want to pay the $30 a week, which is disgusting.
That's below. That's well below the poverty pay. I tell you that.
Exactly. She wasn't watching those kids make money. She was watching those kids because she cared about them.
Yeah, I think she was trying her best to protect them.
Exactly.
You know,
because she was watching other kids, and she had a husband. She has a husband that worked, so it wasn't like she needed the money.
Right.
And you know, another creator said this, and I'm going to bring it out. Did you notice how clean her house was?
The babysitter. I kind of did notice that. Yeah, I did.
That really stuck out to me. So anyway,
that's a good point.
Now I'm gonna swing over to Summer and then get off.
Go ahead.
You know, I think they moved Summer so much that I don't think we're ever gonna find her. Whether she was trafficked or murdered.
Yeah, it's a crazy thought, and it's become heavy. You know, a heavy thought. Oops, sorry about that. I just really truly hope that they know something that we don't. But after 16, almost 17 months, what could they know? What could they know?
Well, yeah.
They need to turn the case over.
Exactly. Well, Larson's got his own mess of trouble.
Oh yeah, I mean, do you think that the people in Kingsport have confidence in him to solve this?
Not. Unless the only thing they'd have confidence in fear.
Yeah,
they're afraid of it.
Right. You're right.
But the reason why I bring up the trafficking with Summer is she was so groomed for that, and she was moved so much. You know, every time they had a lead, she wasn't there. She was moved. And I don't know. I think that's a possibility with her. You know, I think she might have been killed too. But what is your viewpoint on that? Because I know you've been real heavy into that.
What do I think happened, or do I think that they're going to find her?
Yeah. Well, both.
I think that they're going to need to put this case together, Summer's case, without Summer's body. And maybe eventually her body will be found. I don't believe that she's alive. I think that Dawn and Candace are responsible for it in one way. Dawn or Candace, or both of them, one way or the other.
How are they going to build a case against them? They don't. Oh, that's going to take them handing it off to somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's ways. I you know, cell phone data, but the problem is, you know, I've heard that there's a problem with the cell phone data because there's only one cell tower nearby and everybody pings off the same tower. And I don't know if that's true or not, but it makes sense. If somebody just confesses, if Hunter knows more than he's saying, and I think that Hunter does.
How old is their son by now?
Who's that?
How old is their oldest son?
Well, I think he was 13 at the time, 12 or 13. So I mean, he's definitely 14 or 15, a teenager.
I wonder if the FBI could get any more information out of him.
That's what I'm saying. And like I said, my hope is that they're waiting for the CPS case to close and then they drop the hammer on him. But
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows?
Well, I've been thinking about her a lot.
Yeah, that's a tough case, and it's one that sticks with me. And hopefully we get some answers someday for that little girl. Well, I appreciate you calling, and feel free to call back in on the next time. You're a great caller.
Okay, thank you.
All
Bye-bye.
right, bye. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey. Just a little bit.
You there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I can't really tell if I'm on the phone or what. You're still watching you. I'm sorry. This is a little bit, Debbie. I hope when they find that baby's body, no matter what shape it's in, skeleton or whatever, which probably, that they put that body or whatever in the room, put her in there with it, tell her to identify her son, make her sit there with him for at least an hour.
I can totally
She'll break
understand
down.
that. You think so? You think she'll break down?
I think she'll break down. She has to see him looking like that.
Well, I mean, I hope so, but somebody who's willing to throw a child in the trash allegedly doesn't seem to care much about human life, and not just a little kid, their own baby.
Oh, I know. We got a case here right now where a man, right here where I live, where a man killed his 4-month-old baby.
Isn't that
Used
insane?
his fist and kept punching him in the stomach.
And I agree with you. Look, I think that, criminals and suspected criminals, and they all have their rights, but there's just complete disregard for Quinton in this case, just like Summer's case, that just the disregard for human life. And it's not even, I'm not some like person who, wants to save the world. And I love kids as much as the next person. Sometimes kids are very annoying. At one point, my sister and we had kids right around the same time. Both of our kids, we both have 2 kids, and we have 18-year-olds and 17-year-olds. I mean, there were but at one time there were 1-year-olds and 2-year-olds, and there was 4 of them, and they were always around each other. And it was a pain in the butt some days, just because. What's that?
I said, I know I got 2 boys.
Yeah, and they're just, they're hyper kids. You get stressed out, you get annoyed, and 1 and 2 turns to 2 and 3, 3 and 4, and so on and so forth. And it's just, but the thing is, if one of those kids, no matter how annoyed at them I was, or at any age, even today, everything in my being, in my senses, tells me to protect that child or any child. Any child. That's just kind of that. I mean, that's just how most normal people are wired.
I know. That's the way I am. I had a neighbor, well, she wasn't real close to my boys were growing up, and she didn't take care of them. She didn't feed them, and they'd come to my house, and till this day they were in their 40s, and they were best friends with my son, and they call me Mama still, because they'd come to my house and they'd say, "We don't have no clean clothes to wear to school tomorrow. Can you wash them?" But
work. I was
Right.
home.
It,
She
it,
never fed them. But you know what she's doing today?
what's that?
She's taking care of kids. Yeah. She's got 9 children living with her.
Wow.
She didn't even take care of her own. That's how good CPS is.
You know,
And she gets money for every child, and that's how she does. She pays her kids.
yeah, you don't make much money doing that.
9 of them.
And 9 kids
I
is
mean, I don't know how she could have got them.
9 kids is a lot of kids.
I don't know.
It's a lot of kids to take care of, but you know, it kind of reminds me of the babysitter. It seems as though she was just all about the kids, that she loved the kids. How do you feel about the babysitter?
I think she loved that little boy. I really do.
Me too. Me too.
I really do. The videos I've seen of her, she seems like she's really, really loved him.
I believe so too. I think that you know, people are like, is it true that she had a rap sheet? 20 years ago, she was in a domestic violence situation and she fought back. And I don't know if they both got charged. She got charged. I could care less. I could care less. These are not crimes against children. Now, if you want to tell me 20 years ago that she beat on a kid, okay, I'll you know, I'll throw up the red flag too. But it's not there.
It's a terrible situation. Even with Summer, it still just breaks my heart.
Yeah, it does me too. And you know, Summer is, you know,
well, who knows? They might have carried her off somewhere and put her in a dumpster, and nobody knows where she is. Who knows? Okay, well, I won't stay on here.
I appreciate you a little bit. Thank you so much for calling. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah. Fantastic calls tonight. You guys are always awesome. The show was a little rocky to begin with, but we persevered. You know? And thank you for the new members and the gifting of the memberships and the super chats and stickers. You guys are always so nice. It really does help this channel. And I heard a rumor, and I don't want to start this rumor because I think it's just a rumor, but if anybody knows, why are people saying that Don Wells is out? Because I don't believe that he is, but I'm hearing this now constantly. Is there any truth to that whatsoever? Probably not, right? Is it just another? I don't believe he's out. People are just ridiculous. That's right. Lab rats unite. Yeah, he's not out. Has anybody heard that rumor? Terrible Twos and having a new one as well. Night feeds, no sleep, not used to them being there in the morning. She must be an afternoon person. I think she lost it. You mean lazy? Maybe I should drive up there. Yeah, he would text me oh, okay. So it is a rumor. Someone started the rumor that they saw lights on the property. It's lights on at the property now. Well, you know what happens by the time it gets to third person. Well, isn't Candace back there waiting for Dawn? Like, I don't think that's speculation. Huh? I heard someone say two YouTube peoples are supposed to go get him when he gets out, but I remember. Great. Mama tried. Josh, do you ever put boots on the ground because his phone is ringing and someone answered his phone, believed to be Don Jr. the third? Like, what do you mean boots on the ground? Like me going to Tennessee and no, not I would like to do that, but what am I going to do there? They're not even searching anymore, you know. But they're I have never searched for a missing person myself, never. I never have. Not that I wouldn't. Well, that's not okay. So that's actually not true. There was a couple little girls that went missing here a couple of years ago, and I did help there, but I'm not a on location reporter or anything like that. I'm a podcaster, and I talk about stuff, you know. And no, like I said, I'm just a talk show guy, you know. I choose to talk about this stuff, but no, like if a a child went missing here and which has happened, and I did help on that search. There were two little girls, and God, I remember that was a nightmare. It brings back memories. Let's see, I can't even remember how long ago that was. Oh, that was 2019. And I didn't even do that much searching. All I did was we took some water and they were both found alive. It was let me see here. Let's see here. It's a good call. I haven't so this was the one. This was 2019. Two young girls missing for nearly 2 days in a rugged wooded area in Humboldt County have been found alive 1.4 miles from their home. Sheriff's officials announced at midday Sunday that the sisters, Caroline and Layla Carrico, 5 and 8, respectively, were found after going missing about 2:30 p.m. Friday. Humboldt County Sheriff William Hansel said that the girls were safe, able to walk and respond to questions, and apparently healthy. This has been unbelievable, he said. We could not have had a better outcome than we've had this morning. So, yeah, I remember when they found the kids. And we took I think we took waters out to the searchers, and what they had, there they are right there. There they are right there. But they told us that, there was, that the search was organized and whatever. So Yeah, but I certainly would, but I don't make a habit of going across country to do that. If I don't even know if I would be any like good. I'd probably be too emotional. Yeah, they were so cute. Poor little girls. But yeah, they were both found safe. That's about the closest I ever came to searching for kids. Some good news for once. Glad for their family. I know I'd be too emotional. It's like, yeah. Plus, there's the experts do it. These kids have to have voices, and y'all have voices for them. God bless you. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that very much. We try our best, and but I think that we probably do more harm sometimes getting in. Like, I would probably, like, I remember when everybody went to Summer's like vigil, and it was awesome that people showed up, and a lot of YouTubers and stuff showed up, and a lot of them were fairly close, and it was what it was, and I think that it went very good. Everybody was pretty respectful and things like that. But I think a lot of the times, like when it comes to like doing like the people that are protesting right now, by the way, I don't know what the hell they're protesting. Is it a protest, or is it like a bitch fest? Like, they're just mad and yelling, and I can understand why people would be upset. Some people get really upset, and so it's not. I don't know if it's not really a protest. Like, that's kind of disingenuous to call it a protest. You know what I mean? It's not a protest. It's like, why they say, why would you arrest us when you let that baby kill her? They're not going to answer that. Some are really drunk. Supposed to be a protest because Leilani is not arrested. Well, that's kind of different, right? I mean, you're protesting her because she's not arrested, but like I said, it's not that they're not arresting her. It's that they're waiting to arrest her. They're waiting. There's a fine line between protesting and disturbing the peace of the other neighbors. But like I'm saying, can you really it's a protest? It's not really a protest. It's just like causing problems. That's what I think it is. Get out of the way. Let them work. Now you're just causing more problems. Just causing more problems. And it's ridiculous to anybody that supports that. Anybody that supports that. Takes time to collect evidence. Tracy, you're right. It's not a protest. It's bullying. Another thing is, when a lot of these people quote unquote protest, what they're doing is neglecting the stuff in their lives that they have to do. I mean, I get what people wanting to be like, I get people being angry about it, but like, this isn't the Wild West. It's not the Wild West. You can't just do whatever you want. Just because you don't like that she's not arrested doesn't mean that you can go cause problems. What if somebody dies because the cops couldn't get to them on time because they were dealing with a mob at their house? Oh, who cares? A baby killer. Well, we don't even know if she's an actual baby killer. We have some idea that she's responsible for this, but we don't even know what they're going to charge her with yet. Who's your mama? I don't know. No, I don't know. My answer might be different tomorrow. My answer might be different tomorrow, but tonight, no, I don't feel like that. I just don't. I don't know why. It's depressing. And Hawkins County really needs to just turn it over. I mean, everybody's lost all confidence in that sheriff's department. And I was one of their biggest supporters. I was like, they got this. After this whole thing with, now I get that the charges aren't Ronnie's. But how does somebody get 19 years of probation on 4 counts of SB, as we'll call it? And it's covered up. And I think he got an Alford plea too, which is, people say that, somebody said, oh, I read somebody say, it's kind of a common thing. No, it's not. And I know a lot about Alford pleas. It's not common. It's not common. So, I mean, are we just thinking that his lawyer somehow, some way, just kind of floated this out there? Hey, would you guys take an Alford plea? Yeah. No. I mean, just the fact that a judge was okay with that is weird. He took an Alford plea. And an Alford plea is when it's like you admit to the guilt, but you can maintain your innocence, and you're admitting that they have enough to prove you guilty. So how he was even offered an Alford plea is beyond me. I have no clue. I have no clue how he was offered an Alford plea. It doesn't make any sense. We can talk more about that another day. It's called an Alford plea. Here, I'll read you the definition. Okay. Alford plea. The United States law and Alford plea, also called the Kennedy plea in West Virginia, an Alford guilty plea, and the Alford doctrine is a guilty plea in criminal court whereby a defendant in a criminal case does not admit to the criminal acts and asserts innocence, but admits the evidence presented by the prosecution would be likely to persuade a judge or jury to find the defendant guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. This can be caused by circumstantial evidence and testimony favoring the prosecution, and difficulty finding evidence and witnesses that would aid the defense.
So yeah, it's a strange. So this form of guilty plea has been frequently used in local and state courts in the United States, though it constitutes a small percentage of all plea bargains. This form of plea is not allowed in courts, so the military doesn't use it either. The U.S. Attorney's Manual states that in the federal system, Alford pleas should be avoided except in the most unusual circumstances, even if no plea agreement is involved and the plea would cover all pending charges. U.S. attorneys are required to obtain the approval of an assistant attorney general with supervisory responsibility over the subject matter before accepting such a plea. Exactly. It's stupid. I don't even, like I said, I don't know how he ended up with an Alford plea. Stupid. Doesn't want to spend a long time in jail. I mean, it's a weird thing. Josh, how do you feel about Danny? In your opinion, why wasn't he named a person of interest? Why just Leilani? Or do you think it's strategic and LE is watching him? Maybe they don't have maybe they didn't have the evidence yet. Maybe they have the evidence yet. Alfred, it's Alfred actually, but Alfred is Batman's butler, I think. And Alfred is the guy that it's named after. But it's not Alfred. It's not Batman's butler, please. Yeah, it would be called the Batman Butler plea then. I remember my grandpa, because my grandpa's name was Aldred, which is a weird name too. And people would call him Alfred all the time. Like all the time. Yeah, in West Virginia, it could be called the Kennedy plea. That's what West Virginia calls it, but I don't know why. Country road, take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama, Kennedy plea. I don't know why they call it the Kennedy plea. I couldn't tell you. I have no idea.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
I love you guys very much. Thank you for being here. Always appreciate it. And you guys have a nice night.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
Blazing the steel. Bring the heat. Mix it non-stop. Non-stop. With the hottest DJ.
I'm your host, Joshua Deans.
Non-stop.
There is no investigation. This boy has not really. This to me.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
But I had to put her on the side. And I'm gonna do what I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
There is no investigation. This boy has not related this to me.
Right, idiot. I've done my best. It's hard, you know. It's real tough.
But I had to put her on the side and worry about the boy.
No, that's because God understands our human brain. I've done my best. It's hard, you know. That's real tough.
Then, well, what about the statement you gave me about, is it your stepsister?
That's because God understands our human brain. I've done my best. It's hard, you know. That's real tough.